freedom or discrimination. Before that, we would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Najwa binti Makazali.
My name is Maya Ayu Adira.
My name is Nazar Firaida binti Matafri.
First of all, let me summarize the case study. So, in September 2014, the French Parliament passed a bill known as Burka Bill that prohibit people from concealing their face in public places. Similar to 2014, French also outlaws the use of religious symbols in public school. Some legislators argue that wearing burqas was a harmful symbol of gender inequality and discriminatory. French Muslim community saw that the burqa bills as a violation of freedom of religious and cultural imperialism. At the end, many women in France protest on the bill, and the law was taken to the European Court of Human Rights. As for our case study, the topic is banning burqas. Is it freedom or discrimination? So let me first explain what is discrimination. So discrimination is a wrongful act whereby a person deprived of a marginalized from enjoying some benefit or opportunity because he or she is a member of a group towards which there is a substantial prejudice. So there are few forms of discrimination, which are genders, religion, national origin, age, and handicap. So for our topic, religious freedom, it includes freedoms of belief, worship, conscience, and also freedom to proselytize. Let me differentiate. Let me explain the differentiate of niqabs and burqa. So niqab is like this. It is a veil for the face that leaves the area around the eyes and worn with a separate eye veil. It is worn with an accompanying head scarf. While burqa is the most concealing of all Islamic veils, it covers the entire body, face, and leaves just a mesh screen to see through. So for the first question, lawmakers might argue that they were creating a more pluralistic society by banning all forms of religious expression in public places, whereas detractors might argue that the ban does just the opposite. Which side do you agree with and why? So, we agree in detractor side, which banning all forms of religious expression in public places do just the opposite. This is because in this case, women that wear burqas in France are exercising their rights and freedom as stipulated in the human rights. So the general ban on burqa was unnecessary for this purpose rather than protecting fully veiled women because it could leave them isolated from confining their rights and confining them to their homes. As mentioned in human rights organization Amnesty International, they stated that it is violated. This act of banning burqas is a violation of freedoms of expression of women who choose to wear a veil.
As for question 2, should all religious practices be tolerated in a free society? Are there limits to what you think should be allowed? Explain your reasoning. Yes, all religious practices should be tolerated in a free society. So what is religious freedom? Religious freedom is a principle that supports the freedom of an individual, either in public or private, to practice their belief. It also includes the freedom to change one's religion and belief. Then, it is considered by a large number of people to be fundamental of human rights. Lastly, it allows the right to believe what an individual, group, or religion wishes, when it does not allow the right to practice it in a public manner. So this is an example of freedom of religion in India. So according to Indian Constitution that was adopted on 26 January 1950, It guarantees freedom of religion for all citizens without any discrimination. Based on Article 25, it is the right to freely profess and propagate one's religion subject to public order, morality, and health. After that, according to Article 26, it is the right to establish institutions for religious purposes and to manage own affairs in the matters of religion. But there are some limitations or boundaries on this matter. According to International Convention of Civil and Political Rights 1966, religious freedom must not discriminate other human beings. Article 2 states that the categories of potential violations to the freedom of religion or belief. It affirms the right not to be subject to discrimination on the grounds of religion or belief by states, institutions, groups of persons or individuals. Then it is necessary for us to protect the public safety, order, health, or morals, or the fundamental rights and freedoms of others. So the keyword that need to be highlighted here is necessary. The restrictions to religious freedom must be deemed to be necessary when the exercise of religious freedom could burden another person's freedom and rights. As for example, Muslim school cannot be forced to hire a secular Jewish as their vice principals because they are not sharing the same values and beliefs with each other. So the Muslim community would be unduly burdened by having to hire a person who does not share their faith and values as them. So this is an example video of religious discrimination that occur or happen in the workplace.
Come in. Hi, Seema. Take a seat. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Miss Tate.
Good. You certainly seem to be making good progress in the company.
Thank you.
There's an opening for a finance officer coming up.
Really?
I'd like to see you get the post.
That's fantastic.
It would be good to have a woman, certainly a woman of your caliber, in charge of the team.
Thank you.
I think you could do very well, Seema. As a bookkeeper, the hijab hasn't been a big problem. But if you were to become a finance officer, you'd have to consider changing your appearance.
I'm sorry?
Well, you'd be responsible for managing staff, so it's probably not appropriate to dress as you do.
I could do my job perfectly
There
well.
is quite a considerable salary increase.
It's not a matter of money, Miss Tate.
A young woman with your qualities could go far in a company like this. 85% of senior managers are male. Now, things have to change round here. We need talented young women like you.
My faith is important to me.
Well, so is your career. If you're to make the most of your talents, you need to learn to adapt.
I don't need to take off my hijab to do my job, Miss Tate.
Look, Seema, I'm on your side.
Are you?
Of course. I've been fighting for women's equality in the workplace since you were in primary school.
But you're telling me that I should remove my hijab.
Well, obviously, as a woman, I respect your right to choose.
It's not a matter of choice, Miss Tate. It's about faith.
As I see it, it's a faith run by men for the benefit of men.
I choose to wear my hijab. It keeps me protected. Why can't they adapt to my appearance? I don't need to show my hair to be a finance officer.
For the third question, the question is, do you think your home country should implement a ban on face coverings in public? Why or why not? So in our opinion, we should not implement a ban on face covering. It is because burqa bans interfere with the right to religious freedom and expression, and therefore it violates women's human rights. But it depends on certain circumstances, which such as security or public institutions such as school and court. The right to manifest your beliefs isn't absolute and should be limited where it affects the right to others. For example, when it comes to security, when at the immigration, you are expected to show your face. It is legal identification requirements. For public institutions such as school, it is important that students and teachers be allowed to see each other's faces and communicate freely and openly.
As for question 4, should religious garments and iconography from all faith traditions be banned in public schools, as occurred in France in 2004? Why or why not? So the answer is no. All garments and iconography should not be banned in public schools. It is because it violates of the right to religious freedom. Then it will lead to discrimination that is based on religion, gender or race. Based on Article 14, the enjoyment of the rights and freedoms set forth in the Convention shall be secured without discrimination on any grounds such as sex, race, colour, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or other social origin, association with a national minority, property, birth or other status. So this is based on the case of Manla versus Rowell Lee, which a Sikh boy who wore turban for religious reasons was refused admission to the school. The school uniform rule that required all boys to wear cap at school but not a turban was declared to be an indirect discrimination. Then, prohibiting Islamic headscarves amounts to indirect discrimination because it has a greater impact on Muslim students or community. As for instance, French laws banning headscarves are discriminate indirectly as they have more impact on Muslim students or community, with a little impact on Christians and those who do not feel obliged to wear any religious signs. Lastly, this is because it disproportionately affects certain religious groups, for instance Muslim, Sikh and Jews, as against the Catholic majority who will be able to comply by wearing a small cross.
So the last question is, according to some accounts, the law inspired instances of people acting violently against women who continue to wear burqas. Do the principles of separation of church and state and the emancipation of women outweigh these consequences? Defend your position. So before that, let me explain about the separation of church and state. Separation of church and state is the principle that government must maintain an attitude neutrality toward religion. The amendment not only allows citizens the freedom to practice any religion of their choice, but also prevents the government from officially recognizing or favoring any religion. For the definition of emancipation of women, is a woman is free from all social limitation and customs. So back to the question, do the principles of separation and of church and state and the emancipation of women outweigh these consequences? First of all, let me show you the video that is related to the question.
French Republic stands for, says this businessman. He pledges to pay the €150 fine for anyone who continues to wear a veil.
In our opinion, no, because it is not necessary for public or government to act that will cause discomfort or violence to a woman. Based on the video, you can see that the government in France, the woman who wears veil or burqas need to pay €150 fines. This clearly shows that Muslim women have no right to wear what she pleases. And another example is not only burqas, they make a woman remove her burkini in public places because it's an outfit that not respecting good moral and secularism. You can see this is news where the French police make women remove clothing on night beach following burkini ban.
Is there any question? I want to ask a question. In Malaysia, discrimination on race in the public school become a controversial issue. So what do you think about the solution on this matter?
In my opinion, teachers in public schools should teach or train their students on how to respect other races and religion in order to avoid discrimination. Besides, as a part of parents also must nurture their children since young to treat all human beings as the same so that discrimination can be avoided.